to our Human Resources Commission meeting. Today is Thursday, January the 16th, 2025. I will start with the roll call. Commissioner Adams,
Present.
Commissioner Jordan,
Present.
Commissioner Banner,
Present.
Commissioner Cohen,
Present.
Commissioner Gannon,
Present.
Commissioner Whitlock,
Present.
Commissioner Armstead, Commissioner Armstead. It's noted that she's not present. Commissioner Lloyd, Commissioner Lloyd. It's noted that she is not present. Commissioner Wooten. Commissioner Wooten. It is noted that he is not present. You have a quorum.
Thank you for commissioners for joining the session. Especially call to order. The time is 9:06 a.m. We will have a slight adjustment to the agenda on item number 5. The report for the marijuana sales tax update will be moved up into the slot for the HRC chair report, so we can accommodate the speakers' schedules. And I think that we have been waiting to get some additional information on that area of priority. So I felt it to be necessary to move that item up to the number 3 slot as we proceed. First, we will address the approval of the minutes for November. Did all commissioners receive their copy of the agenda, and did you review the agenda items of the minutes?
Yes.
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 Having heard that, the chair will entertain a motion and a second to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded to accept the November minutes. We will have approval by affirmation by all those saying aye.
Just one moment, Chair. If we can have discussion on that just for a quick moment.
Okay. The chair recognizes the unreadiness for Vice Chair Jordan. Go ahead.
I think that there is just a slight mistake on
Okay.
it. It states that we approve the meeting minutes from November 14th, but I believe it should say that we approve the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. I don't recall what date that was, but Melinda, if you could just note that one change. On item number 1.
On the agenda, okay, give me 1 second here. Oh, I do have it pulled up. Let's see.
I think she's referring to the minutes.
Verbiage, the verbiage that was on there.
Yes.
So of course we approve the minutes from the previous meeting, not from that existing meeting, the 14th.
So the meeting that we had in November 14th is the minutes that I drew up, and you guys are approving them. So you're saying that it was a previous one?
So Melinda, what she's talking about is that the November minutes that they're going to approve now talks about that in that meeting they approved prior minutes, but what you have in that is the November 14th minutes. That can't have happened because the meeting, you can't have approved the same meeting minutes for the meeting. So in the minutes itself, it needs to be revised to reflect the previous HRC meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. I will correct that in the, let's see. Would you guys like for me to correct that now, or should we, for time's sake, do that afterwards? But understand that we're approving it for.
So if you could do me a favor, if you could just look up the date of that previous meeting before the November 14th, then I'll make a motion that we accept it with that change.
Gotcha.
I just want to include that date in the motion, if you don't.
Okay. No problem. Let's see. That would be I want to say October. So it looks like it would be in Thursday, October 3rd.
And so I'll just make a motion, or can we do that, sir? Can we, I know we have an emotion on the floor right now. Can we amend it, or how does that work?
So,
We will
Ms.
amend that
Jordan,
as
you'd be
a
making
change to the
a new
minutes.
motion, yeah, of approving minutes with the change
With
that
the
the
change,
date
okay.
reflected, instead of it being November 14th, 2024, in the November 14th, 2024 minutes, it would say that it was October 3rd minutes were approved.
So I make that new motion that we approve the minutes with that correction, that the dates changes to the October meeting.
Is there
We
a
have to
second?
rescind the previous motion first before we have a new motion.
That's what I was asking. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I think whoever made the motion has to rescind their motion.
I will rescind my motion.
And
This
do we
is,
have to vote on that?
No.
No, because
Okay.
it never went to the floor, so it can be,
It never
basically, it
did.
doesn't have a first and a second, and so therefore
That's
that
right.
is moot. We can't vote on it, and so we'd be moving on
Okay.
to Ms.
Just
Jordan's
making a
item.
correction to the current motion.
Perfect. Okay, good. Okay.
Is there
Is
any
there
further
a second to
discussion?
Ms. Jordan's motion?
Is there any further discussion on this correction? If not, we will call for the minutes to a motion and a second with the correction of the date of the prior session. I will accept the motion and second at this time of the correction.
I will second it.
It's been motioned and properly seconded to accept the minutes with the correction of the date of the prior meeting that's noted on the agenda minutes. I will accept a vote of affirmation by saying aye.
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 Opposed to say the same. The motion has been carried and approved to accept the minutes with the correction of the date of the prior minutes to be noted on the minutes to be updated as noted. All right, at this time, we're going to receive the marijuana sales tax update from Jody Patterson, treasurer, and Jeanette Ishawa, the operation manager, in place of the HRC chair report, which I will bring back at a different time. So at this time, let us see the report from Jody Patterson, treasurer, marijuana sales tax update as written.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jody Patterson. I'm the treasurer here at St. Louis County. I was contacted by Tanisha Travis to be present in this meeting to answer questions. She didn't tell me I was giving a report or a presentation. Now, I did see in the meeting materials there was a spreadsheet provided of the amounts that have been transferred to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund from marijuana sales tax revenue. So at this time, I would entertain any questions that you may have on how this works. My understanding is that there's been a lot of turnover. There was originally set a rule based on marijuana for medical use versus the adult use recreational marijuana. There was a new ordinance that changed the calculation because the previous one could not effectively be done. Estimates were being made in order to try and comply with that previous rule, which was not fully accurate, nor was it an efficient way to go about identifying revenue amounts for allocation. So this new ordinance was passed, and under the new rule, we share 1.5% of the marijuana sales tax that's received. 1.5% is then transferred to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and the remaining 98.5% is put into the general fund. Questions?
Chairman Adams, I have a
Commissioners,
question.
the floor is open to provide questions for Jody at this time, based upon our previous conversations concerning the sales tax. So the floor is open to your questions.
What ordinance is that? So we can take a look at that and understand just what the language says.
Okay, the ordinance is number 29007. Okay, in paragraph
That's-
8, I have it in front of me if you'd like me to read the paragraph that identifies how the amount is calculated.
Sure, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, says 1.5% of the county sales tax generated in St. Louis County on the sale of adult use marijuana shall be appropriated upon receipt into the said county fund or account to be used in support of expenses of AHTF in accomplishing its mission and goals.
So when did that take effect? And I'm looking at this table in front of me and just trying to see.
Okay, it took effect, I remember it took effect in April, I believe, of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, the previous wording referenced medical marijuana, and the portion of sales tax attributable to medical marijuana was not provided by the state. The state was contacted and engaged over a period of time, and they were unable to provide this information. What was previously done was 12% was taken of all of the tax for marijuana dispensary vendors versus it being limited to the medical marijuana. Once the adult use tax was approved, now the tax came in increased significantly, and we knew the majority of that was not medical marijuana, and that previous practice that was providing an estimate could no longer be followed.
Mhm.
And so this was reenacted because we had an exact amount for the 3% sales tax of adult use marijuana. And so we can easily take that 1.5% of those funds. We know the calculation now is fully accurate and it's no longer a cumbersome process.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson,
Yes,
I just want to make sure, and so you're saying that previously the rule was medical marijuana, but with this change, it made it so it does encompass all adult use sales. Is that correct now?
it does. It applies to all adult use sales.
That's wonderful. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, and I assume the medical has reduced that even those folks that may have previously purchased and had a card no longer worry about identifying, hey, this is for medical use. They're probably just going in and buying it. It would be my assumption that most of the dispensaries aren't tracking the separation. If they are, we still wouldn't have access to that information. And I also think that the original calculation would provide then a much lower revenue amount, given that I think what is considered or classified medical marijuana has probably significantly been reduced as folks are, it's just easier to walk in and buy the adult use.
Jody, since that change took place in April 2024, is there a retroactive action to go back and recapture any missed funds?
No, I was instructed that there would be no retroactive sharing.
So with that change, will you have better communication coming down from the state of Missouri, Jefferson City, in terms of how that information dispersed on a monthly basis, and how can that be documented for us to keep track of?
Yes, previously I basically had nothing from the state. Now I do get a report of the total amount of the adult use marijuana So along with the funding that goes into our bank account, matches the report.
Was that as of April 2024, or was that
Mhm.
another date?
No, that started, I believe, in December of 23. I think we got our first, and we received it initially in January then of 24. There's a lag. So as folks go in and make a purchase, marijuana or not, and they pay their sales tax, and those funds go to the state 1 month, there's reporting by the businesses the following month, and then the state remits the actual funds, the revenue that comes to the county the month after that. So from the time that the revenue is collected, there's a delay in the monthly process of when the county actually receives those sales tax funds.
So can you assess to see if that delay is about 60 days, or is that 1 quarter delay?
Okay, so if it's collected in October, then I
Mhm.
receive it in December. If it's collected in December, I receive it in February.
So as of January 2025, what we're looking at is as of November.
Yes.
Okay. The current tally on the commissioners, do you see are you looking at the chart for the 3% tax document that was sent to you by Melinda? Where it states, Jody, where it states 2024, the year-to-date amount as of December says 44,796. The total that says 56,424, is that the estimated total or the projected total?
Yes, Chairman Adams, that is still
Yes.
the estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So
If
that's
you look
that's
at
the
the,
forecasted amount.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2 months that were estimated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and then there gives a total of all of the monthly amounts that have been allocated and recorded into the appropriate fund. And then the 44 number, it looks like excludes those estimated amounts.
Okay. So the official amount as of this date is 44,796 that's been allocated to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that information. And we want to also thank Commissioner Amber Banner for helping to facilitate getting that information to us. That's very helpful. So we can proceed with moving forward with planning for those funds in reference to the Housing Trust Fund. Are there any additional discussion for Jody at this time? Jeanette, do you have anything to add to what Jody has stated?
Okay, now Jeanette is my staff person who performs this monthly calculation along with the rest of the sales tax allegation to the municipalities, and she had a conflict with today. You know, since I was the only one who was able to attend, and I had a conflict coming up with another meeting, that's why we needed the agenda, and I appreciate you guys being flexible enough to allow that so that I could participate and answer your questions. So Jeanette would be available at any time. Like if Tanisha or anyone else has questions or wants an update, she's the perfect person to provide updated calculation amounts. I'm more than happy to provide it as well.
That sounds good. We welcome her to be in attendance at our next session if she has room in her schedule to attend. We appreciate her presence.
Okay.
Again, are there any additional questions from the commissioners concerning that report? If not, thank you, Jody, for accommodating us with that information, and you are welcome to proceed to your next meeting.
Thank you all. And thank you for all your service and everything you do.
Thank you. Let us move on to item number 4 on the agenda, the Human Services Update Department. Amber, if you want to give a brief summary before they move on with their reports, you can. Otherwise, we'll hear from the first report from Chauncey.
We can move forward.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Banner. Go ahead, Chauncey.
Good morning, everyone. I am here to provide first an update on the certification of the Housing Resource Commission FY 2025 RFP. That RFP has been certified by procurement and the awarded agencies have been notified and of their awards, and they are in the process of submitting their budgets and documentation in regards to the awards. And the supportive housing team is currently assembling those contracts and preparing them for execution. And so that's the update in regards to the certification of the RFP. The next on the agenda, do we have any questions in regards to the certification?
The organizations, which are those? I know we probably have that in our notes somewhere. I was just curious. Is that something that, Melinda, did you bring it up on the screen or?
We do have, I have those awards in front of me. I can send them to Melinda immediately and she can put them up on the screen, or I can read them to you. What would you like, Commissioner Armstead?
Oh, whichever is easiest.
Okay, so for 2025, Covenant House was awarded $23,000 for street outreach. Employment Connection was awarded $20,000 for rapid rehousing, and Gateway Homeless Services was awarded $25,000 for emergency shelter, and Loaves and Fishes was awarded $82,000 for emergency shelter. Our Ladies Inn was awarded $23,278.51 for emergency shelter. And Peter and Paul was awarded $20,000 for emergency shelter. And Room at the Inn was awarded $25,000 for emergency shelter. And Salvation Army was awarded $81,000 for emergency shelter. And Women's Safe House was awarded $20,000 for emergency shelter, and United Way of Greater St. Louis was awarded $80,000, which gave us a total in awards of $399,278.51. And then we had the 10.15% of administrative costs, which made the total funding for FY 2025 $444,383.43. And all of this was presented in our last meeting. Commissioner Armstead and you all, the commissioners, reviewed and approved these awards to be submitted to procurement for certification. And I can make sure that Melinda, I'll share the award sheet and she can send it out to the commissioners.
Well, was it in our minutes? Didn't we just get that in the minutes? I think I see that, but I can't show you because my camera's not working, so.
And all of that information, the actual awards that I've just stated was shared, and all of that information, the evaluation, outcomes from that request for proposal, and all of these agencies and the amounts that were awarded, that information was provided to the commission.
We had a pretty robust discussion at our last meeting kind of about this. I had brought up that, we're basically a pass-through right now. We're just passing our funds through to other well-funded organizations. And I just remember, I believe it may have been Ms. Banner who was on that with us in illustrating that there are families and people who are unhoused who have some immediate emergency needs that we can't necessarily get to because they don't have the autonomy to fund certain things like a hotel, and that type of thing. And I just, for the future, I'm hoping that we can really like wrestle with if we have to continue to fund all of these organizations versus being able to have access to funds that people can get in an emergency directly. I know we had a robust conversation about that at our last meeting, and and maybe in our strategy session or something, I just hope that there's a time that we can really kind of wrestle with this.
Yes, Commissioner Armstead, we will be addressing those items that we discussed in our special session in December. We'll be discussing that ongoing during the first quarter. We'll be having several meetings during this first quarter concerning just that. So
Okay,
we will continue to discuss those things. So we'll be prepared for our March session going forward.
Okay, thank you so much.
Commissioner Armstead, if I could please share with Loaves and Fishes, one of our emergency shelters, and Salvation Army, if there is not room available in the emergency shelter, they do have relations with hotel motels, and they are able to put clients into hotel motel if necessary. So that is a part of their contract, and they do have the capacity to do that. If a client is placed in hotel motel, they do serve them as if they were in the emergency shelter. And sometimes that's done when emergency shelter beds are not available, and they will allow them to stay there until a bed becomes available in the actual shelter.
The funds that they receive unrestricted, or do we have like the 23,000 or whatever it is that an organization receives? Is it restricted for a particular use, or is it that they get the money and it goes to their general, pot of money?
It's strictly for emergency shelter. And so whatever it takes to administer those services, whether it be case management, the services that are provided to the agencies. And please note, the money that HRC provides to our funded agencies, it's supplemental. It nowhere covers the cost that it takes to administer those services within those shelters. So they take that money and put it with other funding sources to assist in providing emergency shelter to the agency, to the clients, to the unhoused. And they are very appreciative of the services, the funding that they receive from HRC.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Banner.
I will have to make a note because I want to make it clear that if you don't have this sheet in front of you, you will very soon, because Chauncey is going to resend it out. But you'll notice how little the amounts are. Okay, we're trying to spread the funding so thin. It's so thin. And that's the strategic conversation that we had a discussion about previously that I think we need to continue to have, because are we being the best stewards, right, of all of the funding that we have, using it in the best way possible for the greatest impact based on need? I think that's the question here. And I just kind of want to put a button on the end of this conversation really quick, right? Because you'll see that list and you'll see how small those amounts are. And this is supplemental money that we're giving. So just bear that in mind as you look through the list when you get it. And that will probably kind of help us all to be thinking in a more strategic way about impact. I'll leave that there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I will have our team to email that list. Like I said, all of these awards were presented in the last meeting. I will have the team to submit the award sheet to Melinda, and she will get that out to you all today so you can have it, the actual awards that were given to the agencies.
Chair recognizes Commissioner. Go ahead.
Yes, Yes, thank you. Just to piggyback off of what Commissioner Banner said, while it's spread out, from a strategic standpoint, these are pretty large organizations with pretty significant budgets. So that's just another component to this. It's spread out and it's part of a, United Way's $80 million budget. So again, those things strategically just need to be said out loud as well.
Okay. Any additional questions in regards to the awards and the certification? So the next agenda item for me is the upcoming Housing Resource Commission 2026 request for proposal, and the commissioners planned in regards to your scope of services or how you would like to administer those funds. The 2025 RFP was released in July of last year. And within that request for proposal, it had the option of 2 one-year renewals. And so the question to the commission today is, do you want to continue with that scope of service that you have outlined in the current request for proposal? Or do you want to revisit your scope of services? That means the particular services that you would like to fund in the RFP for 2026 funding. And that's your decision. Like I said, we released the RFP in July of last year. We have drafted
John, see your screen has frozen. Amber,
So
can you
you're-
go ahead, Chauncey?
Okay, and also your plans for the Affordable Housing Trust Funds. When do you, your scope of services in regards to that, and your plans to actually release that money through a request for proposal? And so that's what we need from the commissioners, so we can move forward with the request for proposal for 2026. Our team is prepared, and we need just that information from you.
Thank you, Chauncey. That'll be a part of our current discussions as to how we allocate funding going forward. As Commissioner Banner has stated, with funds being so thin, with our budget cut, there's fewer funds to distribute. And of course, the funds that we're trying to build for the Affordable Housing Trust, it's really a nominal amount that we really can't utilize at this time. We wanted to build up. So with that most recent information from Jody and all those processes from the state of Missouri being cleared up and the ordinance change and the allocation change, we need to see how the funding is increased so we can properly utilize those funds supplementally to what has already been given to us as far as what's been allocated for the Department of Human Services, where we can best fit those funds. And those are discussions I want to have during this month, February, going into March. So we will be getting back with you, Chauncey, in terms of what the commissioners have discussed, what we have planned out, so we can give you a proper update for going into that RFP for 2026. The chair recognizes Vice Chair Jordan.
Thank you. Ms. Chancia, in order to have this out in July, out for the public in July, when would we need to have this, when would you need to have this finalized from us? If you're still there. I don't know if she's still there. And I know she was having some technical difficulties. So if that's something that we can, oh, hi, Ms. Chancia. If we were to get this out to the public for a July posting, when would all of this have to be finalized in order to make that happen?
Well, we released it last year in July, and I'm asking that we could at least release the RFP for 2026 no later than May 1st. We would like to move it up a month. Last year, we started the conversation in February, and it took up into July to get the scope of services solidified with the commission and actually getting the request for proposal reviewed and approved by legal. And so if we can know from you all your scope of work that you would like to have outlined in the RFP no later than March 1st, no later than March 1st, if you can have that to us, all of that information. We have a draft, like I said, there is a renewal in the current request for proposal if you choose to remain with the scope of services. And if you choose to remain what you have outlined in the current RFP, then all we would have to do is do renewals, and legal would assist us with that, and that would expedite us being able to get the contracts executed in time. But if you choose to change that scope of work, then we will need that information to us no later than March 1st.
Can we get a copy of that current RFP sent to us?
Yes, we sent the final one out to you last year when we completed it because Chair Adams, and I'll be more, Chair Adams requested it once it was released, and I will have Melinda to resend that to you, absolutely.
Prior to recognizing Commissioner Armstead, my request to the commissioners, please go back and look in your, I don't want to take the staff back through unnecessary delivery of documents. We should have those documents from the last time. But if you, after this request, please check your database, check your archives to make sure you have the information, because I know I received it. And so I don't want the staff to go through either double work or sending out documents, but please go ahead and send that document out, Chauncey, this one last time. But I would like for all the commissioners, once they receive this document, this email communication with the attachment, please let Melinda know so we know that you got it. Because we don't want to keep repeating sending of documents. We want to make sure that the staff is carrying out their other duties as per their director. We don't want to inundate them with additional requests. So after this request, please let her know that you received the document so we can properly study it and move forward to our next session, which will be another special session, which you'll receive by email communication from me. Is there anything else for Chauncey? Go ahead, Commissioner Armstead. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I was just wanting to, I can only speak for myself, that I believe that we are going to try to grapple with where we want to be next year. And so just renewing and doing things the way that they have been done may not be the outcome. So I would want us to proceed as if it is going to be the outcome.
Yes. And thank you for that, Commissioner Armstead. And last year, what you all did was we did not use previous requests for proposals, scope of work. We asked the commission to come together, as you stated, to actually look at your scope of work, not assuming what you did the previous year, that was the decision to be made for the current RFP. So I do encourage you all to do the work and strategically looking at how you would like to allocate. From procurement standpoint, we were required to share that there was renewals, and that was at the commissioner's guidance to place a renewal within the request for proposal. Thank you, Commissioner Armstead. And those are my updates. unless anyone has any additional questions.
Are there any additional questions from the commissioners at this time concerning the RFC fiscal year 26 report proposal? If not, we will move forward. Thank you, Chauncey, for that. And we look for that attachment to be sent to Melinda, out to the commissioners for their review.
Yes.
And commissioners, please confirm with Melinda that you receive the document once it's received.
Mhm. And I am notifying the team now to forward those documents, Commissioner Adams, to Melinda.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Let's move forward to the finance report, RHC finance report from Robert Smith. Go ahead, Robert.
Good morning, Chairman Adams, and thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. If anyone is not familiar with me with the presentations that I've made in the past, I am the accounting supervisor here with the Department of Human Services. And I work closely with Chauncey to make sure she is well aware of the financial standing of the HRC. If we could share the spreadsheet that I provided for this month's presentation. Click on, we'll start with the expense tab. Currently, of a total of $512,480 that we have earmarked for reimbursement to our partnering contracting agencies, we have dispersed a total of $230,230.37. I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied this morning. It's $420,230.37, which equals an 82% distribution rate of the Housing Resource Commission funds. For emergency shelter, of the $345,480 we've dispersed or reimbursed those agencies $311,962.63 for an expenditure rate of 90.3%. For rapid rehousing, of their award of $20,000, we have reimbursed them $14,837.33 for a percentage of expenditure of 74.19%, and coordinated services of $95,000 to those two agencies. We have reimbursed so far year to date $65,686.46 for a reimbursement percentage of 69.14%. We can move to the revenue report. Currently through 2024 year to date through November of that year, there has been a fee income of $373,449, and we have received in interest payments of $31,761.27 for a total so far year to date of $405,288.27. This represents the first 11 months of fiscal year 2024. Previously, I estimated that we would generate approximately another $61,000 for the November and December That figure was calculated in taking the monthly averages of the first 10 months and subtracting approximately a 10% were reduction in income and interest for the last 2 months of the year. I am happy to report that the amount in November exceeded my expectations, with receiving $34,642.22 in income and interest. I have anticipated having all financial disclosure of income and interest for December to close out the year at the beginning of next week due to the holiday on Monday, and will provide a year-end total for HRC for fiscal year 26 no later than the end of this month. We have already discussed the adult use recreation marijuana. Do you want me to go over that sheet again, or do you think that was adequate from earlier this morning?
Robert, I'm trying to figure out how the document from the for the marijuana sales tax revenue coincides with this one. I can't seem to match up these figures here.
These figures do not reflect the funds that are deposited into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the adult use marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
These fee income is strictly from the $3 filing fee as indicated by the ordinance that supplies that income, and then the interest because of the 2-year lag between when those funds are generated and when they're received by the HRC. I have not drawn from, and this revenue report does not reflect the adult use marijuana revenue. That is something separate that, until I'm given directive by the HRC on how those funds are to be utilized, I have not touched, and they're just sitting there waiting for a directive to how they want those funds are to be utilized.
Chairman, if I may, since we now seem to have a path forward on the collection, and I think it would be helpful for us as a commission to be able to see, similar to the HRC fund and the recording fee, the collection of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund over the year, and then we can make the decision about funding moving forward. So as we have our financial reports on the recording fee and HRC fund, we could also get the financial reports on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund each meeting.
I will make sure to include that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Robert, once that information has been properly accumulated, where would it sit on this report here?
I will create a specific report for the medical marijuana, or I can add it to a tab on this spreadsheet. I am completely at your discretion on how you want the information disclosed.
If you can add an additional tab, that would be helpful. Maybe a lot easier to access.
Then that is what I will do moving forward.
Also, I have a question concerning, I realize there's been a reduction in budget from last year. Can you show us how that reduction has affected the projections for 25?
Yes, sir. Melinda, if you can click on the revenue for your tab. and maybe increase this so people can the 2022 year to date of 512,480 is what we're currently reimbursing our partner agencies at this time. The 2023 year to date total of $444,383 coincides with what Shansia disclosed as to what the dollar amount for the 2025 request for proposal and those dollar amounts that were awarded to the partner agencies that she disclosed earlier during her portion of the presentation. With currently, without the last month of December, we've got a total of $405,288.27 in just the filing fee income and interest. If I add in an estimate for December of 2023 that's similar to what we produced in November of 2024, being 1% less than the revenue from November of 2023, we should see an additional income and interest in December of just under $32,000. So that would give us a total of approximately $437,000 to be utilized when we do the request for proposal for HRC fiscal year 26, which will reflect approximately a 2% reduction from 2023 year to date total, which is better than the double digit decrease that we have seen in years past from 2021 to 2022 and 22 to 23. Does that answer your question, Chairman Adams?
It does. It does partially answer my question. I guess I was thinking, when I say the budget, I meant the overall budget for the county was going to be reduced in terms of allocations, and that would affect the Department of Human Services as well, which will also go into our discussion of how we can utilize the funds in the housing trust funds to be supplemental once they have accumulated. That's where it was leading to. So in essence, we would have additional funding. It wouldn't be as bad as what you projected. It really has shown an increase in what we will receive. However, those funds are still nominal as how we would supplement the budget for the Department of Human Services if asked to do so.
I don't feel that I will get you that information. I don't feel I am at this moment ready to respond to that question, but I will get you that information as needed after I consult with my staff and go over some of the numbers, and then have a presentation or a supplemental presentation to send to you.
That sounds good. So you said that you'd be able to update the December numbers by the end of the month. So you see, like maybe the first week in February, you can update this chart here.
Yes, sir. That is my intention, to have it done hopefully by the end of next week, by the end of the month at the latest.
Okay, because that would be the information we would need to add to our discussion as to how we move forward with how we address which organizations to support if we plan on maybe making some changes to how we allocate the funds. That information will be very helpful to utilize going
The
forward.
final
So we will
numbers for
understand
fee
the
income.
overall budget.
Yeah, the final numbers for fee income and interest are usually disclosed at the middle of the month. So unfortunately, I wasn't prepared to have that for you this morning.
That's understandable. I understand.
Can I ask a question?
The chair
Chairman?
recognizes Commissioner Whitlock.
Yeah, the question I have is, thank you very much. How long do you think it would be before we as the commissioners will be able to get that information from Mr. Smith? I mean, I understand that you're going to compile this information and you have it together, I would say in about a week or so, but when will we have access to it?
If it is the desire of the chair, I can disclose it, have it distributed to all of the commissioners. That won't be a problem. But that's not my call to make. But I will if that is the desire of the commission, I will make sure that happens.
I mean,
Well,
and
Robert-
I thank you very much for that. And, you know, I know that it has to go through certain channels, et cetera, but I just would, you know, I just was curious as to how long it would be before we would have access to it, to be able to review and then to be able to ask additional questions on it. So again, I understand our processes, but I just wanted to, you know, just to put that out there. And I think that that would be helpful for me. So thank you for responding.
No problem.
Commissioner
I'm a
Whitlock, may I
firm advocate.
intervene? Sorry, just real quickly on discussion, for any additional questions. Those additional questions would have to take place during a meeting. So I think it might be best in this situation to target, having that information prior to the special session that Commissioner Adams mentioned, so that there could be an agenda item to discuss that revenue there, because you are a public body. It needs to be discussed in a public forum to be sunshine compliant. So I think that would probably be the best avenue for that.
And I agree with you. I wouldn't have the conversation one-on-one with them. I just wanted to have access to be able to review it for myself and to be able to, as far as planning planning ahead. So thank you for clarifying that again, Matt.
Absolutely, Commissioner.
Robert, once you have those final figures, just send a communication to Melinda, and she will notify me, and then we'll take it from there as to how we will discuss that information going forward in our special session.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Adams, may I ask a
Yes.
question? So, Mr. Smith, thank you so much. You always have wonderful reports. I'm such a data geek and I love what you provide for us. Thank you. I'm not sure if Melinda, can you confirm, did this spreadsheet get included in those downloadable files? I have gone back to look and I don't have access to this spreadsheet. I did not have access to it before. Now, as part of the PDFs that you provided, the revenue report was one of the PDFs, but I guess I'm just asking just to see if there's something I'm missing, or if it's something that others perhaps were missing, or if it was just me. But I did not notice that this spreadsheet was part of the materials that we received in preparation for the meeting today. Was that just me, or is that true that we did not receive this spreadsheet?
I believe we only see one of the tabs of the report.
That's all
We
I
didn't-
got was one of the tabs.
We didn't get the actual spreadsheet, probably because it hasn't been properly updated. And well, we didn't get these tabs here. I think we only got the report tab.
So
As well as
if I may, I believe
tab
on
for
the
marijuana use.
everyone, I believe on the invite that was sent on January 9th, that has different documentation, is that this spreadsheet in its entirety is on there. It has the same name, and looking at the tabs that I have access to, it has this revenue year 4 tab and all of the other ones. So it should have been an invite from Melinda. I'm showing it as received on January 9th, 2025 at 8:33 a.m. It has the agenda, the minutes, the marijuana sales tax document, as well as the spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm looking at that tab. That's the one with the downloadable. There was a concern that there were large files, and I see that in here, but I didn't see the spreadsheet. I see the PDFs.
I'm just saying what I received that I believe was to the entire commission, but maybe Melinda can intervene.
You said you got this. You got the spreadsheet in your communication.
I did, Commissioner. Yes, Chair Adams, and it was an email labeled St. Louis County Housing Resources Commission meeting, and the subject of it says update in preparation for the upcoming meeting. I'm sharing with you, and it then lists the 4 items, which includes this financial report.
I just checked my the email that I sent all the commissioners, and it is showing that you guys received all of them.
So the download that you sent that we had to go to a separate platform to download, that platform had 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 4 PDFs that were part of that download. Was there an actual spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet as well? Because I don't see that record in what you sent us. And so I just want to make sure that I am looking in the right places because I keep missing things. And so I just want to make sure that I'm looking in the right places. The large
That's the one I
files
received as well. I received the one with the 4 PDFs. I did not receive the spreadsheet portion.
didn't either.
Well, I do apologize. I see all of the documents that was sent to you guys. I'm not sure what happened. And it also gave me confirmation. Once I sent you the large files, I got a notification saying that all of the files were downloaded. And then you guys actually sent back an email and said that you received them all. Well, I do see that I sent everything, the Excel, the agenda, the marijuana tax, and the minutes. So I don't know.
Interesting. So the large files email that I have from you, there are 4 PDFs attached. There is no spreadsheet. Only 4 files were downloaded. Only 4 files are listed.
Melinda, how was the spreadsheet noted? What's the name of the spreadsheet?
It is January 2024 through December 2024 HRC financial report, RCS 01.06.2025, and it has protected on there also.
I don't have that. I just have the PDF, which is one of the tabs.
Yeah, that's
So
one tab came over with that.
One of the tabs,
yes,
but not the Excel spreadsheet. Are you saying that you have the actual XLS file, or is it a PDF file?
It is an actual Excel report.
And it has the extension XLS? Or does it have .pdf behind it?
It doesn't have PDF behind it.
I'd love to hear from other commissioners, or did other commissioners actually receive the Excel files? So did other commissioners receive 5 documents instead of the 4 that I received?
It should only been 4, and then the tabs. It should have been only tabs on the Excel report for the financial. So you should have received 4.
Commissioner Banner, I do have the attachments in the invite for the meeting this morning. I can see the Excel spreadsheet and the minutes, the other PDFs, but it's a part of the invite this morning on the calendar invite. I can see that Excel spreadsheet. And I don't know if other commissioners see what I see, but that's what I'm noting on my calendar.
Yeah, yes, Commissioner Banner, that's what I received as well. That was that invite that was sent January 9th at 8:33 a.m. It was the invite there that had the 4 attachments, as well as the link to this WebEx.
If you want to, I can resend it again while we're here. You want me to try it again? You want Would
And
you
I
guys-
received
Well,
the same thing. I received the same
I
thing.
think, Melinda, what might be helpful going forward is that if, in addition to attaching it to the meeting minutes, is that we had just a separate actual email, I think would be beneficial.
Okay.
Because maybe not everyone has Outlook, and maybe it is not as easy to find that information.
Okay.
So that's probably why some of the commissioners, they might have, because it's going to their personal emails. If we would just communicate that out via a regular email, then I don't believe that we'll have this issue going forward.
Well, and
Absolutely.
I just want to say one thing, like I have 4 downloads, but it doesn't say what the download should have been. So, maybe if instead of just saying download, say, these are the 4 things that are going to be in your download. And then when we say we got it, we'll know that we
Right.
all got the same things.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I did see that it had an indication that it was Mindcast. Did you guys see that? That it's come from Mindcast and it was a large file. And then Mindcast gave me a notification that you were able to download all of the files. And this was actually through email, Max. So I did do that. So I
No,
don't know what
So that's
what happened.
correct. It's just that the documents that I received through Mindcast were
Mhm.
4 PDFs.
Okay.
And so the PDF relating to this spreadsheet, it
Mhm.
only sent 1 tab. So it didn't send an Excel spreadsheet. It
Mhm.
only sent the first tab and it sent it as a PDF.
Okay, so you're saying that you did receive it. You only got 1 tab from that report.
In fact, I
That's
didn't get a
correct.
Gotcha.
spreadsheet. I just
That's
got a PDF of 1 tab.
Okay.
And so I had no idea there was a spreadsheet.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I will ask, Commissioner Banner said that in the invite, that the attachment is there as well.
Right.
So,
I do not have that invite.
okay.
The invite that I have is, I do see from the 9th, but I don't have any attachments on that invite. And again, it could be the Outlook versus Google issue that you all are speaking of. That could be it. The only attachments I received were from the Mimecast.
Okay. Just as a courtesy, Melinda, can you just send the spreadsheet? Don't send anything else. Just if you can just resend the spreadsheet, if that's possible.
Okay,
That should
let me
be
send
sufficient.
to you now. Let me
Yes.
send to you now. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, no
But nothing
problem.
else. Thank you.
All right. Let's see.
Yes,
That,
Mr. Smith, I was looking forward to reviewing your wonderful work before the meeting today, so I could converse intelligently and as I listened to you.
Thank you, Robert, for the finance report. And we look forward to the update from the December numbers, and that will adjust that chart so we can see the budget years in total. That will help us to do our planning for the next couple of sessions. I will be setting up a special session. Again, I have to look at the calendar. We'll have Melinda send out a survey to see what date will be best for everyone for that special session, so we can have it, so we can discuss once that report is done, and so we can be properly prepared for the March meeting. But I won't send that out until we get a survey of what day would be best for that special session, and then we will send out the necessary time and date to meet. Are there any other discussions from the commissioners at this time?
About this or about anything?
Anything?
I
The
do.
chair recognizes Commissioner Banner.
So just really quickly to recap, I want to make sure that my staff understand what the next task is to be of service to the commission. So you're wanting Robert Smith to add a tab to the Excel spreadsheet that he just showed you that demonstrates or shows the revenue from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, correct? So that we can also be seeing that report on a regular basis. Is that the ask?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Can
And
I clarify that, ask Amber?
Yes, please.
Could we have it for all of the years that we've seen revenue in the trust fund? Because I think
Yeah.
it started up a couple of years ago, so I'd like to be able to see what it's been.
That's right.
And, okay, thank you.
That's right. That's very good. Yes, Robert, can you confirm for us that you're able to do that for our next meeting?
Yes, I will include that for the next meeting and all meetings going forward.
Very
Sure.
good. I just want to ask before, if Melinda's already sent the Excel spreadsheet, that's fine. But if she has not, perhaps it might be more helpful if we send the spreadsheet with Robert's additions so that you can have a nice comprehensive task met spreadsheet and we can use that as the springboard. Would everyone feel comfortable with a slight delay only because of that? So you don't have two documents to kind of hop between. Thoughts?
I agree with that.
I would be fine with that.
That's a whole lot better. Thank you.
All right. I want to keep us organized. So of course, also, if it is more helpful for my staff to only drop documents in a particular folder as opposed to having documents in multiple places so that we have a one-stop shop for everything every time for these meetings, I'd like to hear that feedback as well. What do you prefer?
Are you stating that
like-
the Mindcast is the method that you're using for delivery going forward? Is that what you're stating?
That is an option. And we can continue to do that if you like that, if that is working well for keeping us all organized. However, I'm noticing that we have documents through Mimecast and we have documents coming through through appointments, the actual invites on calendars, which are different, right, for certain commissioners versus others. And I think that might cause a little bit of confusion. So if the commissioners, if you don't mind, Chairman Adams, if we can take a pulse on the preferred method for where our documents need to live so that we stay organized, I think that would help too.
Amber, are you proposing, did I hear you say that you could do some sort of shared folder that we could all have access to? Is that what I heard you say? Where documents could live?
Yes, you did hear that. So that is an option. Option 2 is through Mimecast and only through Mimecast, as opposed to option 3, which is also through invites, calendar invites, and attachments to the actual invites. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. Right now, we have 2 that are currently activated. That's through Mimecast, and then the other is through invites. I'd like to just hear really quickly what the preference is among the commissioners for where they would like the documents to live consistently. The third option is one we can look at, which is an external folder where we can drop items into. But right now we have 2 options that are activated. Here's the question. Would you like for us to continue to use Mimecast to put everything through Mimecast and have that downloaded to you all? Or are you comfortable with us having documents sent 2 different ways, the second way being through an invite?
I would prefer Mindcast. That's just myself.
Yeah, my way in, I prefer a shared folder that we all have access to. And then my second preference would be Mimecast.
I prefer to have them emailed, so sorry to be annoying.
I was going to say most of the organizations that I belong to send it with the invitation, and that seems to be consistent. And then I always know where to look. You know, I get my invitation, I get all the materials, and, you know, when I save it, I can just pull up the invitation and there they all are. But again, if I have a list of what's being sent, if it says there are 4 attachments, I know what the titles of the 4 attachments. So like today, if there's a title for an attachment, but we didn't get the spreadsheet, you know, we should know that. So I don't really care how I get it as long as I get it. But for me, an email invitation with the attachments is consistent with what I get from everybody else.
I see. Other thoughts? Preferences?
Myself, I prefer the invitation with attachments And I'm leaning towards the shared folder since that's how I receive documents at my primary job. So I'm not sure if that will cause any additional work, and I don't want to cause any additional work. But I think we need to troubleshoot the Mimecast. I think the Mimecast will probably be the best delivery method, but apparently there's maybe a item troubleshoot item in there concerning Excel spreadsheet or the spreadsheet item that drops out of it. If that could be troubleshooted, that would be the preferred method plus the invitation, the invite for me.
Commissioner Armstead,
I
do
would,
you have a question?
yes, I would prefer the email attachment. That's just a good way to me. And then the shared directory and then Mimecast. I don't have Outlook, so I'm not getting the attachments in the email invite. They're not showing up for me because I'm in Google and they're not, for some reason, they're not showing up.
I see. So I'm hearing more of a 50-50 split. Okay, so what I'd like to ask my staff to do is to ensure that we utilize both methods. There's two now. So we're going to provide all of the attachments in the invites, and we're going to delineate what those attachments are by title for the invite. We will do the same thing in Mimecast now, so that when you receive the download, you know what you're expected to receive, and then you can be aware of whether or not you received what we intended for you. So we'll do both. We'll do both, and we will just ensure that we're a little more organized about how we disperse those documents. Does that sound like a good starting place? We can revisit the shared folder ongoingly, but hearing a 50-50 split, in my professional opinion, I think we need to continue to do both. Are we all comfortable with that?
Mhm.
Yes.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you all.
Also, before we end our session, Commissioner Banner, can you allow the additional staff members who are attending to introduce themselves?
Yes, of course. At your call.
Charlotte Hughes,
Good morning, everybody. My name is Charlene Hughes. I'm the Division Manager for the Office of Social and Community Service.
Mr. Richard Weiner,
Hi, I'm Richard Weiner, and I am a accounting supervisor with Fiscal Services.
the chair recognizes Vice Chairman Jordan. Commissioner Jordan, you have your hand up.
I did. I'm sorry about that. A call came through. Mr. Callanan, I am truly enjoying my service on the commission, so please don't take this as a knock. But do you happen to know off the top of your head how long the terms are for commissioners' service?
I do not know off the top of my head. I can definitely research and give you an answer for the next meeting.
Thank you. Again, I'm not trying to leave. I just was curious. Thank you.
Absolutely.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Banner.
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge a couple of other staff that are also on the call that I'd like to allow an opportunity for them to introduce themselves properly along with the other staff that have gone ahead. May we continue?
Yes.
Yule,
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, my name is Yule Williams, and I'm an accountant 3 in financial services, DHS. And I'm happy to, be invited as a panelist today and let me speak.
Thank you, sir.
and lastly, we have Sonia.
Good morning. I'm Sonia Venerable. I am the Secretary for the Office of Community Development. And I will also, I'm trying to learn how to be a backup for Melinda so I can facilitate some of these meetings. So, and I'm sorry I don't have my camera on. I left it at work. My apologies. I will have it next time.
Good morning, Sonia.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your participation and your individual roles in assisting the commission. We greatly appreciate it. And you're more than welcome to be in attendance at any future meetings. And if you have any input, please also feel free to raise your hand and you'll be recognized, and you can provide whatever insight you can that will help us as we carry out the duties as been given to us by the St. Louis County Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just to follow up with Vice Chairman Jordan, Mac, our terms, we've been waiting on our reappointments from the county executive. So I will concur with her. If you can give us an update on when that could take place, we will be happy to continue our service, but properly per the ordinance.
Absolutely, Chair Adams. And so I did actually just look up the authorizing ordinance, which is 502-460 of the St. Louis County Revised Ordinances. Each commissioner is appointed for a term of 3 years. It does have the caveat that you would serve until someone else is appointed for that role. Obviously, commissioners could resign if there was an issue, if they had too many obligations or anything like that. But 3 years and then until appointment. As to the county executive appointing somebody else, that is a process separate from the legal sphere. So I couldn't speak to where he was in the process of appointing new commissioners for any vacancies or for anyone who was coming up to the 3 years. But the term is 3 years for commissioners.
Thank you so much. If there is anything else, I'll call for a motion for us to adjourn. Our next meeting is scheduled for March the 20th, 2025 at 9 a.m. I will also be calling a special session, which will be emailed to you once it has been decided. And then we'll discuss during that meeting in a more robust fashion how we plan to address certain allocations and how we will address the upcoming RFP process. And that way we will go into our March session with more of an understanding on how, in a direction as to how we'll be allocating the funds for that proposal year. So at this time, I will recognize a motion to adjourn with a second.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly seconded that we have our adjournment. The time is 10:28 a.m. Thank you so much for your attendance, and look for our communications for that special session in the next coming weeks.
Chair Adams, we didn't actually vote on it. I believe there was a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. It's been properly motioned and seconded to officially adjourn this meeting. All in favor by affirmation, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. We have affirmed the approval of the motion to adjourn. The time is 10:28 a.m. Thank you so much for your attendance.
Thank you.
All right.
And
Bye,
be
everybody.
safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Bye.